For a bit of context, the Clone Trooper Pilot was my very first Clone Trooper action figure and one of my very first Star Wars toys. No, not this one you see right here. I'm talking about this one. While this isn't the one I had from childhood, I still do have that. This is my carded one that I have to kind of, relive the memories of getting it back in the day, because I remember seeing this in the package. And I have some very fond memories with this figure. I loved all the little black scratches on it. I loved the yellow on the helmet. I just thought it was super cool. Really awesome figure. So when Hot Toys unveiled that they were making a Clone Trooper Pilot back on May 4th, 2022, I instantly jumped at the chance to pre-order it. I pre-ordered it right away, and thankfully I did because I think this is on waitlist full on Sideshow. So good luck getting it if you want it. Hopefully it comes back in stock, but it seems like this one might be a very limited run when it comes to some of these, because typically they're open pre-order and then they're just in stock and then they sell out. But this one's already waitlist full before it even came out. I love it though. I love it. But is it perfect? We'll have a discussion. How about that? We'll have a discussion. So let's set him off to the side, because I always show off the boxes just real quick. So you can see, it's so big. These boxes are so big, especially these anniversary ones. Nice big picture of the figure. Same kind of black and gray pattern that we've seen for years and years on Sideshow and Hot Toys style boxes. Clone Pilot right there. Blank. We have the credits for all the creators on the back per usual. Oh no. Oh no. His droid popper almost rolled off the desk. Oh no. You can see it's just a box. And then lifting the cover up, you can see it looks very ornate in this mode. Definitely a lot fancier. You get this border, you get this cool sticker. If you display it in the box, definitely display it in the box like this, because the sleeve is, just look at that. That's so cool looking, man. That's so cool. And you do get a Phase 2 helmet with this one, so that's really nice. Yeah, it's a really cool figure. It makes me very, very happy. There's the box. So with these Hot Toys reviews, I always start off with, what do you get? Well, obviously, you're going to get a display base. So let's have him standing back there. So you get a display base, obviously. It's the very standard Hot Toys base. Clone Pilot. It's got the, Imperial grating. It's got the crotch cradle you can adjust. Very standard. You do have that Phase 2 alternate helmet, which we will put on him later on. But getting a little close right now at some of the details, that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous. I love the look of the Phase 2 helmet from the Clone Wars, but I do have to say I'd love to see a Hot Toys version of the ARC 170 pilots, the ones more featured in Revenge of the Sith. I would love a Hot Toys Oddball or just a Captain Jag. Ooh, yes, I would definitely go for that. This is a very nice looking helmet. We'll see it on the body more later on. Speaking of what is on the body, currently, obviously, Phase 1 helmet, but he has the right trigger finger hand and the left gripping hand. Also, the very standard DC-15 blaster that we have seen on plenty of Hot Toys Clone Troopers. It does have the movable stock that you can flip down, which doesn't go all the way, oddly enough, which it's still kind of useful that way, but just keep it how it goes like that. Don't mess with it. What else does he have hand-wise? Let's see. He's got a right open hand right there. And he has a left pointing hand. He's kind of light on hands, unfortunately. He doesn't come with a lot. So he's got those ones. And then he has the alternates. So a left trigger finger hand, which does have some nice detailing on the armor right there. Some nice weathering. And a right open palm hand. And that's it. That's it for the hands. So, kind of light. But for other accessories, I did mention... oh boy, where'd it go? It rolled off the desk again. You get a droid popper, which is kind of cool you get this. I'm surprised you didn't get it with the just plain Phase 1 Trooper. But hey, it's a nice little accessory you get. It does not want to focus because it's super tiny. And you get one that's kind of like a mine. One that they kind of planted on the ground that the droids step on or something. So yeah, you get those droid poppers. Those are instantly going in a box for them to not roll around. Spare wrist pegs in case you break them, but I've never broken a Hot Toys wrist peg. I've broken a 3-0 wrist peg, but never a Hot Toys one. And last but not least, not only do you get this DC-17 pistol, which is nice to have, but also you get binoculars, which these look really nice. Now, granted, you never saw the pilot with these binoculars, but they're just nice to have. You saw the Commander with these binoculars. And these are the same binoculars you also saw with Commander Gree. So, I'd love to see these in a more green camo with a Hot Toys Commander Gree. I'd also love to see these with a yellow clone Commander that you've already teased in various pictures. Come on, Hot Toys, please. Look at that paint, though. That's really, really nice. It's one of my favorite Hot Toys accessories, honestly. Even if I don't have this on a figure, it'll probably just be sitting on a display base in the case. Alright, so accessories out of the way. Let's take a better look at the figure, and this figure looks gorgeous. So taking a look at this Phase 1 helmet, it looks really, really cool. It looks so nice. That is the clone pilot right there. However, is it a perfect likeness to the clone pilot? We will discuss it. We will discuss that. I do think it absolutely captures the look and the essence of the Phase 1 Clone Trooper pilot. However, there are things about the helmet that do make it a little inaccurate. I feel like Hot Toys, basically, they saw that little bit of it that they saw in the movie, and they just tried to go from it with that information. But there's actually more resource to the Phase 1 Clone Pilot helmet than just that. And you've actually already seen it in the video. But yeah, honestly, I think the pilot helmet looks really nice. It's not, you know, inaccurate to the point where I'm, like, very unhappy with it. It's not super, like, offensively inaccurate. It's not like, oh my gosh, it looks nothing like it. But especially from angles like this, I definitely see it. But from head on, it looks a little off. Looks a little off. And you'll see what I mean by that here shortly. But just all the paint, man. Just zooming in. Looking at the life support on the chest. Look at all that little detail. It's exactly the same as on the Phase 2. I love all the scuffing on the armor. That reminds me so much of that original action figure I had. It's funny, this clone pilot is actually far more scuffed than the Trooper, which is kind of funny. It's got the belt right there. It's the exact same armor plates that we have seen on all the other Hot Toys clones. Nothing new, nothing new. But tons of little scuffs and scrapes. Looking cool, loving the detail, and he's got some dirt on his boots. It's just nice looking, man. It's really nice. I love him with the gun. The communicator looks nice on the arm. It's a more basic figure, especially with that Phase 1, you know, clone pilot helmet. It's just a Phase 1 clone pilot. You know, I can see a lot of collectors passing this one up because they're like, oh, a clone pilot? You only saw that for like 2 seconds on the screen. Why would you ever want that? Because it means a lot to me. That's why. So, yeah, it is a 6th scale figure, so it's, you know, pretty big. It's a Hot Toys. You know, triple digits on the price, but it makes me very happy. This does make me very, very happy, because this particular clone does mean a lot to me. Let's go over his articulation before we swap the helmets and talk about the accuracies. Actually, let's go ahead and swap the helmet for the articulation portion, because I can show you how much it moves for the Phase 1. So you can see full range of motion. I wouldn't really move it much more than that, though, because of the hosing. Yeah. Very nicely articulated on the Phase 1. And what we do, we wiggle this off. You can see it actually plugs into the chest. I expected it to be a magnet, but it's very interesting that it's a plug. Very, very interesting. So taking that, we'll just take the Phase 2 helmet, plug that on, and then plug the life support in. And that looks really cool. That's really nice. It's having a Phase 2 Hot Toys clone pilot. I never thought I'd have this. Not something I ever expected to have in my life, but here we go. You can see his articulation. He's not going to move as far up because the hosing is in the front of the helmet, but you do get a lot of down. Side to side, again, I wouldn't move it much more than that because of the hosing, but still, it poses nice, looks great. Let's actually get close in on this helmet one more time. It's so cool. I love this design. I don't think I like it more than the ARC 170 pilots from Revenge of the Sith. But this makes a lot of sense for a Phase 2 clone pilot. It really does. I love the mouth breather. I love the visor. It's just so cool looking, man. I really like it. So let's get this helmet off. Alrighty. So for the rest of his articulation, he's got like those drop downs at the shoulders, so you can have him down. You can shift him up. He's got butterflies. He's got ball hinges at the shoulders, which give you a nice range of articulation. He's got forward at the shoulders. He's got elastic straps on the shoulders, which is funny. In my Phase 1 clone review, I totally forgot the word elastic. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, which gets you a pretty decent bend and has a nice ratchet. Not for the lower joint, but for the upper joint. Standard wrist pegs for 1/6 scale. You know, they hinge and swivel in whatever direction. You can see right now it's going in that direction. The torso, you do get a little bit of a crunch. You do get more of an arc back, but it's going to start breaking up the armor. A little bit of a tilt, and you have a swivel. The belt is kind of a softer plastic, so you can adjust that as you need to. The hips move forward. They move out to the side. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, and it does have the standard Hot Toys 1/6 scale ankle joint. So overall, articulation is very nice on it. Really do enjoy that articulation. And it looks great. Love it. However, I do think it's time that we discuss the helmet, because if you know me, I'm a stickler for Clone Trooper helmet details, this, that, and the other. I mean, looking at the Black Series roleplay Clone Trooper helmet, the slight inaccuracy of that made me totally decide to never buy it. I'm just that much of a stickler for it. However, getting in the original Hot Toys Phase 1 Clone Trooper, I didn't really mind the thickness of the mouth, nor the larger helmet. And with the Phase 1 pilot, the thickness of the mouth vent is a little less forgiving, because on the prototype, it wasn't that thick. When I opened up the package for the Hot Toys Clone Pilot, I'm like, wow, that mouth sure is thick. And yeah, it's pretty thick. I mean, seeing it from the side angle, you can see it's a pretty distinct line right there when it should be much, much thinner. I do feel like this is definitely the angle that Hot Toys referenced when sculpting this helmet. Because looking at it from dead on and comparing it to this, the visor, there's something about it. I think what's going on is that there's a bit of a curvature that I don't think should be there. So what I'm talking about with the curvature, if we take this helmet and straighten it up as much as possible, you can see this brow is like tilted down a little bit, and that results in a bit of a curvature of the visor. Like you can see it's kind of curving down. It won't curve down if you're viewing it from this angle, but you can see that's a pretty high up angle for it to not really have that visible curve anymore. So you can see the angling of the helmet is definitely not the same as the standard Phase 1 Clone Trooper pilot, which in my opinion, I think the Clone Pilot helmet should just be a standard Phase 1 Clone Trooper with the additional elements on the helmet. So, you know, it looks a little off. Then again, they don't have much to reference. However, I have a reference I think Hot Toys did not even consider when it comes to sculpting this helmet. Let's bring back that original figure. So you can see the original figure has a pretty, like you look at the helmet and you're like, oh, there's really nothing wrong with it. But what we're really looking at is that picture right there. That, my friends, is an original image of the original CGI model from the movie. This is the most accurate you will get to a Phase 1 Clone Trooper pilot helmet on this card back. That's it. That's it. On the carding, that's all we're going to get when it comes to a reference to the movie. And as we can see, that downward curvature that the Hot Toys has, especially how striking it is, it's just not there on this reference material. And another thing, the mouth is much, much thinner on that. It's not as thick as that is. So I do have to say, when it comes to Hot Toys Clone Troopers, this is by far the least accurate helmet. However, I'm nitpicking. I am definitely nitpicking. But I do wish Hot Toys made it look spot on to what it looks like right here. I'm a little disappointed that it's not 1,000,000,000% accurate, because it's Hot Toys. That's typically what I expect. However, I think what we have here is still a very, very awesome rendition of the Clone Trooper pilot. My very first Clone Trooper toy. It's a very awesome rendition in 1/6 scale. Because 1/6 scale is, when it comes to Clone Troopers, my favorite scale. I love Hot Toys Clone Troopers. They are my favorite Clone Trooper toys that I own, that I collect. I adore them. I think they're great. I want more of them. I mean, just before filming this video, I got the email, my Hot Toys Jessie is preparing to ship. So, I will be getting and reviewing Jesse. I will not be getting Vaughn. I will not get Apo. I will not get the heavy 501st, and I will not get the 501st ATRT. I'm not going all in on Clone Wars stuff. But I'm all in on movie stuff. And on, like, my favorite Clone Wars stuff. So, like, Jesse and Rex. I would get, like, Fox and a few others. But looking at these, man, that's my childhood right there. It's so funny. My first Clone Trooper toy was the Clone Pilot, but my brother's first Clone Trooper was that sneak preview Phase 1. So it's kind of cool, you know, seeing these as like my first Attack of the Clones Phase 1 troopers. It's really cool. I'm really happy with these. They make my soul very, very happy. Like just seeing this Clone Pilot. Oh, it's the Clone Pilot. It's like they made this just for me. Because I'm the only one that gives a shit about him. Who else cares about the Clone Pilot? Even Lego didn't care about the Clone Pilot. They were like, we all remember that the person in the gunship was yellow, so we made it a Clone Commander. It's like no one knows or cares about the Clone Pilot. But I do. I'm sure some people in the comments will be like, oh, I do too. And you know what? You do. I'm just making a joke. I really hope we get that Clone Commander. It's just this guy with yellow stripes. I'd love to see it in Hot Toys because I had the original 12-inch Hasbro one growing up, and I just love to see it in Hot Toys. I want to see the officers, all of them, green, yellow, red, blue, all of them. I'm actually very interested if we do get that Commander. Fingers crossed. They've shown it in prototype booths and pictures with these guys a lot. If they do release it, I want to take this helmet and put it on the Commander to make it the like Battlefront Engineer. And I'm only going to get one each. I'll preface this with I'll just get one each. I'll just like swap out the display from time to time. But if I decide I want to have the the Phase 2 pilot on display instead, I'll take this pilot helmet and give it to the Clone Commander body with the yellow stripes and make the Battlefront Engineer from the original Battlefront games. That would be cool to have in Hot Toys. Now, granted, it wouldn't plug into the chest, but it's not that big of a deal. Alrighty, guys, there we go. There is my look at the Hot Toys Attack of the Clones 20th Anniversary Clone Trooper Pilot. I love this figure. I recommend it if it's something that you really want. If you're a huge Clone Pilot fan like me. If you're a Clone Trooper fan and just want a Hot Toys Clone Trooper, personally, if you only have one, I'd recommend this, because you get the Phase 1 helmet, the Phase 2 helmet, tons of weapons, tons of gear. If you just want a plain trooper and you don't want it to be 501st, Shock Trooper, whatever, get this. But if you love pilots as much as I do, then this is definitely a worthy buy. For me, like I've said time and time again, this figure means a lot to me. The Clone Pilot means a lot to me. And while the helmet could be more accurate, I think Hot Toys did a great job. I mean, I don't even think I showed the back of this. Like, even look at that. It looks so good. That helmet looks so nice. I mean, you gotta admit, it still looks nice. It just doesn't look exact. We'll just put it that way. I love these figures. Highly recommend them. In my opinion, if you're collecting Star Wars toys in general, I think having a Hot Toys doesn't hurt. Because if you think about it, they're fairly affordable. If you're on a grown-up toy budget, where you're already dropping like hundreds of dollars on Black Series and Vintage Collection, what have you, just take $250 of that budget. Just put it into a Hot Toys. You'll thank me later. You'll thank me. Alrighty, guys. I think I've said all I need to say. I'm rambling at this point. Thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to channel members as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Support like that is the reason why videos like this exist. Let me just put it that way. But any support, just watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, just existing and liking my stuff is enough for me. Alrighty, guys. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.